Yeah. All right. So we're just gonna jump right into it. I wanted to get into. I'd gotten a question today. Somebody messaged me, so I'm just gonna read it off. It's kind of a multi-part one. It says, "Okay, I just wanted to ask, as somebody who's newly breaking into the music industry and buckling down on my craft. I don't know if they're an artist or producer or engineer, but they said I'm breaking into the music industry, buckling down on my craft. I was curious what you, as an award-winning engineer and producer, look for when you know a track is going to be something special." Um, yeah, I don't know. So, I mean, it really depends. So, there's some sessions where it, it's a major label and it's a major artist who's already had a bunch of hits, and you know that there's it becomes almost like a factory at that point, right? You know, it's going to be a big budget behind the promotion. It's already a proven artist with a track record. So, going into a session like that, you kind of go, okay, there's a good chance this song's going to be a hit because the last 5 songs that they had were hits, and they've got a major label and a major budget. They're putting hundreds of thousands, if not millions, into this artist. So I think that's one easy way, right? But I don't think you really know. I think that sometimes when you're working on something, you'll know, like, like, wow, like there's a magic. It's in the air. You can feel it. You can taste it. And you're like, wow, we're really doing something special here. And sometimes those are the ones where that energy connects with an audience as well. And so it, I don't know if it becomes a hit or whatever, but sometimes you can feel it, but you never really know. I think songs that you just did because you were having fun or you got hired to do a gig and all of a sudden it blows up out of nowhere. And then other songs that you were certain were is like the best thing you've ever worked on. It's just, you know, your career highlight. It's amazing. And the songs get no traction at all. I've experienced a lot of flukes as a producer, as an engineer, even with my own stuff. Like I released with Seven Factor, we released first single we'd put out in a while. And within like a week, it had like 100,000 plays. And we're like, caught us all off guard. And we're like, oh shit, let's get the next one out. We put the next one out and it had like 10,000. There is a science behind things and there is a method, but then other times it kind of feels like there's no rhyme or reason. So let's see, multi-part question here. So next one, another one is, what are things that annoy you as a professional when when people come unprepared or lacking something in particular? I don't, I'm usually pretty hard to annoy, especially in a professional environment. Like if somebody hires me to work on their stuff and we're in the studio or they hire me to do mixing or whatever, if if a song takes 10 revisions to get it right, then it takes 10 revisions. At the end of the day, I want my clients to be happy, so I'm not worried about being annoyed. Like I'm not annoyed by that. I want it to be perfect. I want them to be like, this exceeded my expectations every single time. If somebody's not prepared, I mean, the best thing you can do if you're a band, if you're an artist, rehearse your songs, get everything perfect, make sure your instruments are tuned, new strings, or maintained, or whatever it is. So that part's important, but I'm not going to be annoyed if somebody shows up and they don't know their own songs. Maybe they're nervous. Maybe it's their first time in a studio, or maybe, man, I've been in sessions where the major artists and they're spending thousands and we don't do anything. They sit and they talk and they hang out and they're just kind of shooting the shit. And it's really, they want to be in the studio and they want to have that experience. And so when I'm in the studio, I work for you. I'm not going to get annoyed. You're the boss. And if you want to spend your money and hang out and not really get anything done, then that's fine. I'm going to, depending on the session, if it makes sense, maybe I'll give feedback like, hey, maybe we should do this, or maybe, hey, you want to hop in the booth, but you feel every situation out like that because sometimes people just want to be in the studio and hang out, and it's their time and it's their money, and ultimately their experience. I think if there's anything that does annoy me, and maybe this is me just being picky, but I get so many messages on like Facebook and Instagram that's just a link to a YouTube channel or a Spotify list, or I'll be in some of the groups, maybe on Facebook, some of the music groups, and I'll post something and people comment a link to their Spotify. Don't send me unsolicited music. Don't send anybody unsolicited music. Like, it's annoying. I out the gate, probably not going to work with you if you do that. Um, for me, I don't necessarily, first of all, I'm never going to listen to it. I will never click on it. You're wasting your time. You're pissing me off. You're closing doors. So part of it's that, but like, don't send people unsolicited stuff. For me, at least, I it's not like I work in all genres. I work in hip hop and pop and EDM and um metal and industrial. And for me, it's not always like, do I like the song? Like, sure, that goes into it, but it's also like, do I vibe with the person? Do I want to be sitting in a studio with this person for 12 hours a day creating stuff and making that magic? And if somebody doesn't have the ability or the respect to have a conversation and make a connection and even ask permission, like, hey, I'd really like to work with you. Like, what's the process? Is it okay if I send you music? Like, this is what I'm looking to do. I'm an artist. I have some songs written and I need a mix engineer. I already recorded, or I need somebody to track my stuff. Like, have an actual conversation about what you're looking to do. Don't just send a stranger who you've never spoken to a link to your song on Spotify. Or I post a video like this in a group and somebody comments a link to their song. Like, fucking why, dude? That's so I block those people. I will never listen to your song if you do that. If you talk to me and we have a conversation and the conversation goes towards, yeah, let's see what you're doing. Let's talk about doing some work together. That's how you get people to listen to your song. Don't ever comment, just here's my Spotify link. Don't ever message somebody, oh, here's my Spotify link. And maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just a pet peeve of mine, but that is the one thing that annoys me. Um, and I think the other thing kind of on that same vein is small talk. Hear me out. Like, if it's somebody I've never spoken to, it's a stranger on the internet, and they message me and they go, yo, or hey, and I won't respond. And then 2 days later, hey, yo, you know, we're not having a conversation. Like, if you were emailing somebody, especially if it's a professional environment, like you're wanting to, obviously social media isn't necessarily always professional, but if you're contacting me for professional reasons, like you want to work on something, your first email should be like short, first of all, and hey, this is my reason for contacting you. Hi, I want to record a song with you. Where can how can we start a dialogue about this? What are your rates? What are your availability? Things like that, like, get to the point. What is your reason for contacting me? Or people, like, they'll hit me up and be like, I need a record label and a manager and I need somebody to make me famous. Understand your audience. Like, I'm not a record label. I'm a music producer. I'm an audio engineer. I do some artist development, but again, that's a conversation. Um, Somebody that just goes, hey, make me famous, tells me that they don't really have a clear idea of what they want and they don't have a clear understanding of how to get there. And I have a little bit of more patience with that because we all started somewhere. We were all new at one point. So I don't want to be like, I don't want to shame somebody because they don't realize, maybe they've just seen their favorite artist and they go, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be, I see all the cars and the jewelry and the women and I want that. And how do I do that? So I have a little bit more patience for that kind of stuff, where some people just need to learn about the industry and the processes and what is real and what's not. And I don't know, like, how to how to navigate the music industry. And that's why I make these videos. That's why I have the podcast. That's why I do artist development, because I do understand what it's like to be an independent artist, a new artist, and you have a dream and you have a passion and you don't know how to get there. So I have a little bit more patience with that. I guess my point is when you're messaging somebody like for the first time, get to the point real quick. Don't send me, "Hey, what's up? Yo," 10 times before get to the point, you know? So that would be the only thing that annoys me. And the third part of this question, what are some things you wish you'd looked into at an early stage that helped you now? Oh man. I don't know. That's a fucking tough one. Um, I think some of the important things are keep keeping your finger on the pulse of the industry you want to work in. If you want to work in the music industry, you want to be a musician, you want to be in behind the scenes, then understand, live and breathe it, know what's going on, right? I don't think I've always done that. I think for a long time I was touring the world and just really focusing on being an artist and not focusing on the industry as a whole, you know? And there's something to be said to that, because I also say, like, don't become an audio engineer if you really want to be an artist necessarily. You know, it's pick which side of the glass you want to be on. You can be both though. I'm both. I have a touring band. I'm still releasing stuff. I'm also a producer and engineer. But I think keeping your pulse on what is going on, understanding the industry, understanding current trends, understanding the news that's happening in your industry on a daily basis, enough to be able to have conversations around it, understand how it impacts you and where you want to go, um, develop an understanding of what are the steps, what do you need to do, start with where you want to be and work backwards is one really good way, but what is it that you want to do, right? I think the other really important one that I've done a pretty good job at, but I probably could have done better, especially when I was younger, is the networking aspect. Build relationships. This entire industry is built based off relationships. I have gotten more tours and more opportunities as a whole based off of relationships I've built than I have how good my music is. I guarantee that some of the tours I've been on, the people that booked us on those probably never listened to my music until we showed up. Um, it really comes to cultivating those relationships. And so I think I've said this before, I say this a lot. Treat people good. Um, Go out of your way to help people without expecting something in return. Just put the energy out there and do things for people that you wish people would do for you, whether it's now or when you were starting out or whatever it is. Like, always make it a point to do everything you can to help other people without it being transactional, without going, well, I'm going to help you because you're going to help me. Like, don't think about that. Think of, I'm going to help you because I have the ability to, I have resources that you don't. I'm in a position to help you and ways that you can't do on your own. And by doing that and being consistent, eventually that comes back around to you. But again, don't do it for that reason where it's transactional, but be good to people and build those networks. So hopefully I answered those 3 questions. If anybody else has questions, send them to me. Email me, boss@yesquityourdayjob.com. Hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on Instagram. If you do either of those things, I swear to God, if you write yo, I'm gonna fucking block you. But otherwise, send me a message and yeah, I'll see you next time.